Welcome to a journey through time, to an era when Amsterdam stood at the very center of the world. In the 1600s, during what history calls the Dutch Golden Age, this city of canals, merchants, and ideas became the richest city on earth. A beacon of global trade, financial innovation, and artistic brilliance, Amsterdam reshaped how the modern world would function. For centuries, this world existed only in engravings and paintings, frozen moments captured by artists who walked these very streets. But today, through advanced artificial intelligence, we can bring those images back to life, transforming static art into vivid, living scenes. So step with us into the 17th century, and discover the city that changed the world forever. Our story begins on the quiet banks of the Amstel River, just south of Amsterdam, near Ouderkerk, as depicted in 1622. This peaceful landscape reveals the lifeblood of the city, the river that gave Amsterdam its name. Families gather along the water's edge. Fishermen mend their nets. Small boats glide across the calm surface. Centuries earlier, a simple dam was built here on the Amstel, and from that modest structure, an empire was born. The Amstel was Amsterdam's highway to the world. Goods flowed downstream from inland regions to the city's ports, and from there across the globe. In the distance rises the church tower of Ouderkerk, where many of Amsterdam's wealthiest merchants chose to be buried, eternally close to the source of their fortunes. But this tranquility would not last. As Amsterdam's wealth exploded, these gentle riverbanks transformed into fortified walls, warehouses, shipyards, and an ever-expanding urban landscape. We now arrive at the edge of the city, at the formidable fortifications of the Haarlem Gate. These massive earthworks and star-shaped bastions were Amsterdam's shield. The Dutch Republic was locked in the 80 Years' War against Spain, a brutal struggle for independence that lasted from 1568 to 1648. Amsterdam was a prime target, and these defenses were essential for survival. Notice the windmills lining the ramparts. They were not grinding grain, but pumping water. Amsterdam sat below sea level, and keeping the city dry was a daily battle against nature itself. As the Dutch famously said, God created the world, but the Dutch created the Netherlands. By the early 1600s, the city was growing so rapidly that these walls had to be rebuilt again and again. Amsterdam expanded outward in precise concentric rings of canals, the Herengracht, Keizersgracht, and Prinsengracht, forming the famous canal belt that still defines the city today. From the gates, we move into the old harbor basin. In the background stands Street Anthoniasport, later known as the Waag. This harbor never slept. Small vessels crowded the waters, barges, fishing boats, and canal ships, the workhorses of local and regional trade. These were not the great ocean-going ships bound for Asia, but the vessels that kept Amsterdam fed and supplied. Fresh fish from the Zuiderzee, timber from the Baltic, grain from the Dutch countryside, all passed through harbors like this. Amsterdam's true genius lay in organization and efficiency. Goods were transferred seamlessly from ocean ships to canal boats, moving through the city with astonishing speed. Now we reach the main harbor of Amsterdam, watched over by the guardhouse. This was where the world met the city. Ships from every continent anchored here, unloading fortunes in cargo. Look at the forest of masts, each one representing unimaginable wealth. Spices from the Moluccas, silk from China, furs from Russia, sugar from Brazil, timber from Scandinavia. Amsterdam produced little itself. Instead, it mastered the art of being the middleman, buying low, selling high, and controlling the flow of global commerce. Much of this trade was dominated by the Dutch East India Company, founded in 1602, the world's first multinational corporation and the first company to issue public stock. To the south, two imposing blockhouses guarded the Amstel River. Built in 1651, they protected the city's wealth from enemies, Spanish forces, rival Dutch cities, and an increasingly aggressive England. These structures served both as fortresses and customs posts. Every ship passing between them paid duties. Trade never stopped, even in times of tension. When winter arrived, the river froze solid. Commerce gave way to celebration. Merchants and laborers alike skated across the ice. Winter festivals filled the frozen waterways with laughter and joy. Amsterdam was not only a city of trade, it was a city of life. Welcome to the new market, dominated by the Waag. Originally built as St. Anthoniasport, this castle-like structure was transformed in 1617 into Amsterdam's official way house and guild hall. This is where commerce became law. Cheese, grain, spices, and gold, every major transaction had to be verified here. Taxes were collected, standards were enforced. The upper floors housed powerful guilds, including the Surgeons' Guild. It was here that Rembrandt van Rijn set the anatomy lesson of Dr. Nicolaes Tulp. From the market's bustle, we glide along the Kloveniersbergwal Canal to the magnificent Trippenhuis, completed in 1662. This grand residence belonged to the Tripp brothers, arms dealers who amassed enormous fortunes during the 80 Years' War. With its 8 Corinthian columns, the Trippenhuis was among the most extravagant homes in the city. These canals were part of a deliberate urban plan, creating thousands of building plots sold to Amsterdam's elite, merchants who commissioned portraits from masters like Johannes Vermeer. Here stands the Amsterdam Exchange, completed in 1611. This was the birthplace of modern capitalism, the world's first true stock exchange. Merchants traded goods, company shares, futures, and financial instruments never seen before. By the mid-1600s, Amsterdam had become the undisputed financial capital of the world. We now arrive at Dam Square, the beating heart of Amsterdam. Once the original dam on the Amstel, this vast space became the city's civic center. The Grand Town Hall, later rebuilt and now the Royal Palace, symbolized Amsterdam's power. The square overflowed with life, markets, festivals, sailors from distant lands, merchants, soldiers, clergy, and common citizens. Amsterdam's population exploded from 50,000 in 1600 to over 200,000 by 1650. Rising above the Western Canal Belt stands the Westerkerk. Completed in 1631, its tower dominated the skyline. Inside, the church reflected Protestant values, simple, restrained, and focused on faith and reflection. In 1669, Rembrandt van Rijn was buried here, his final resting place in the city he immortalized. And there you have it, a journey through Amsterdam in the 1600s. A city built on water, discipline, innovation, and ambition. A place that helped create the modern world. More AI reconstructions are coming soon. Tell us in the comments, which city should we visit next? Thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the past.